Hello, I'm Jamie Lidell. This is my home studio, and this is what I call Studio B, fondly. It's basically I've got too much shit, so I was like, I can't put it all over there, so I put it over here. For now, in this demonstration, what I thought I'd share is something that I came across in my podcast. I do a podcast called Hanging Out with Audiophiles. For every show, I try to do a segment that's in the studio talking about just an idea I've had. I get into some serious nitty-gritty conundrums. And one of the thoughts I came across was, looking around me here, I've got a bunch of monosynths. I've basically got this is a monosynth, the old Voyager, but that's got MIDI on it. These guys don't have MIDI. Two Korgs, a Korg MS-20 and an MS-50. There's a little Doepfer modular that I've had for a while, and then this Oberheim SEM. So I was like, okay, cool. These are all great synths and you can control them and sequence them and everything. But I was like, what would happen if I wanted to unify things that were supposed to be singular? Monosynths turning into a polysynth. It can be done. It's relatively convoluted. I made some Max for Live solutions which did work. But there's also a box I have made by Kenton, the Pro 2000. And essentially that is just usually used to sequence these machines that don't have MIDI. So the MIDI turns to CV and gate and they play nice. This is one voice, this is another voice, the SEM is one voice, and this is a voice. And actually the Voyager is a voice. So we've got 5 voices in a polysynth that can be played and sequenced. You can program that entire box using this. It's also available on the Max for Live devices. The cool thing about this, every voice is a synthesizer. So when you make these chordal voices, each synth has its own envelope settings, its own LFO settings, and the voices, of course. So you can make quite heavy, and odd, often out of tune, polysynths come to life and spawn these kind of Frankensteinian monsters. All the outputs of the synth voices come into the console here. There's a couple of effects. In this case, I'm using this Korg CR4 strange cassette effects unit. After all that talking, rambling, some would say, let's just play a chord. So basically, the Voyager will always be taking the lowest note because it's on lowest note priority and it's actually getting MIDI. It's getting a separate channel. It's not going through the Kenton at all. So it's kind of conveniently always holding down the lowest note. So you just end up with these crazy sounds. And ultimately, it's a bit of a wild beast. As you start to just kind of explore all the possibilities of fading in the envelopes, changing the different sounds, you come up with they can be panned. Bizarre, isn't it? Quite fun, really. Now, one thing that I set up here just to be silly was you've got Bluetooth MIDI. You can connect these two computers with Bluetooth, which is really quite silly. So that means that I can play over here, I think. Now all the synths are playing at the same time. That's every synth in the studio playing at the same time, says he. Yeah, it's a symphony of synths. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, you can get it all to talk and just to kind of blow your mind and waste loads of time potentially. But the polyphonic MIDI from analog synths is super nice because it comes out so wonky and cool. It's got a lot of character. But yeah, it's worth a go. It's worth a go. That's much better. Weird, right? It's usually a bit more giving than that. There it is. There it is. Flutes.